Welcome to the Corporate Jet Investor Podcast. This week, we're absolutely delighted to have Dustin Cordier, founder of Step Zero. Dustin, do you want to take us through Step Zero quickly?
Sure. Glad to be here. Thank you, Al. I appreciate the invite to the show. Step Zero is a coaching platform. Basically, I help business owners lead with intention. So what does that mean? It means that they get clear on their vision, they're driving execution with discipline, and they're building a company that endures beyond them. So there's three primary platforms that I use. So I'm a certified exit planning advisor, a CEPA. I am also an EOS implementer, entrepreneurial operating system to drive execution. And I also offer sales strategy and sales training, and that part of the business will be expanding next year.
Expanding as in hiring someone?
Yeah, on the sales strategy and go to market that I work on, there's an issue in the industry in terms of building a sales bench for teams. It is the hardest thing that companies in the aviation businesses have to find is good sales talent. So I'll be partnering with a person, and we will be building a sales talent pipeline for the industry.
Interesting. Okay, we're looking more forward to hearing
heard it
more
here
about
first.
So let's step back to Step Zero. You were selling aircraft, and now you're helping people set up systems and sell their businesses. What made you change?
So before after I got out of the Air Force and before I got into aviation, I had a stint in banking. I had all the certified financial planner courses done, CFA level 1. But my passion was in aviation. And so after I left Jet Aviva, many people know I went and hiked a good section of the Appalachian Trail. And while I was out on the trail, really celebrating where I was at in my life, it just struck me that I wanted to have a bigger impact. And so when I left, I started, when I got off the trail, I started a coaching business. Johnny Foster from O'Gara was persistent in his recruiting of me to join his team, which I did. And fortunately, I did because his team had just started this process called EOS. And it totally opened my eyes to how the art and science side of running a great entrepreneurial company. And so I just realized that there was such a need for that kind of leadership in the industry. And Johnny and I, kudos to Johnny for being as gracious as he was when I said, you know what, when I look in the mirror, I need to be out there coaching and helping the industry. And that's what I'm doing right now and loving it.
And going back to the Air Force, and I know you had some amazing missions, including North Korea. How did you end up? Were you always going to end up joining the Air Force when you were a child?
I wish I could say yes to that. However, when I was a child, I would take my bicycle, I'd ride it down to the railroad tracks, and I'd love to watch the trains go by. And I didn't catch the airplane bug until I was in high school, and it was really a guidance counselor that opened my eyes. He recommended that I apply for a summer camp at the Air Force Academy. And so I applied. Only 2 people per state were admitted. And of course, I didn't know any of that. And I got to the camp at the Air Force Academy, and I was just amazed. Everything was fast moving. There were airplanes zooming overhead. It was like, wow, I found home. So that was my automatic application to the Air Force Academy, and that's what launched me into aviation.
And what did you enjoy about working at the Air Force?
Oh, 100% the camaraderie. I mean, the trust that you build, it's a high stress, high accountability organization that has superior training processes. And with that comes high trust. I mean, there are just my Air Force friends that, I haven't seen in 20, 25, 30 years. I know in a heartbeat, I could trust them with anything going on with my life. So, the camaraderie there, of course, the greater purpose of protecting and defending the rights of the country was awesome. But yeah, people amazing.
And when I think of
airplanes were pretty cool too, Al.
It's good. It's the people. But when I think of the army, I think of all armed forces. I think of systems. Do you think that's when you first decided that was the secret to organizations?
Yeah, for sure. Right. Because in the no kidding world of combat, a team needs to be ready to have the next person step up if that leader or any person on the team is no longer there. Right. So there cannot be a collapse in the system based on the missing piece of one or several people. So the system design in all the armed forces is critical, and absolutely seeing the value of that it is essential in any business, no matter if it's a small entrepreneurial venture all the way up to the largest public companies. The systems are what brings success. Goals may set direction, but the system sets the floor of the performance.
Okay, we'll come back to that. So after the Air Force, you then started working for some pretty big companies.
Yes. So immediately after the Air Force, I actually was in regional banking. But once I hit Chairman's Club of Sales there, I brought my resumes to NBAA, which was supposed to be in New Orleans, but Hurricane Katrina had something to say about that. And I eventually, I took a job with flight safety a couple weeks after that NBAA, worked with flight safety for a couple years. Cessna launched the Citation Mustang and was building a sales force to go along with that. So I went to Cessna, ended up being a regional VP for them before Embraer was launching the Legacy 500 and recruited me over there. So I went from big government to big corporate before I jumped into the entrepreneurial space.
And let's go back. Did you have meetings at MBAA, or presumably you've got a network of people across the industry from your Air Force days?
I knew nothing. I knew nothing. I had the only thing I knew is I had zero desire to go to the airlines. I flew cool stuff in the Air Force. Flying from Boston to Chicago 3 times a week the rest of my life, not going to happen. Somebody told me business aviation is the place to be, and I flew Learjets in the Air Force, so I had a little glimpse of that industry. But I literally just showed up in Orlando with a briefcase of resumes, and here's the secret: I rode that massive escalator down, and I saw the size of the room, and I literally rode the up escalator and left. And I said, wow, this is way bigger than I could have imagined. I had no idea. I said, I need to have a plan before I just walk around this room. So I walked the outside of the convention center in Orlando and said, okay, you ran a simulator for the KC-135 fleet. So go talk to the training providers first. So I went to CAE first, told them I was meeting with flight safety next. They said, well, you need to look up Scott Farah, tell him hello from me. I walked over to flight safety and said, I'm here to see Scott Farah. and then I just daisy chained my way, asked Scott who I needed to talk to at Cessna, and it was Roger White at the time, and asked him who I needed to talk to at Bombardier, and ended up working through all the OEMs. Even though I had aviation background and sales background. I didn't have specific aviation sales. So really the only OEM that showed interest was Embraer. Ernie was running it at the time, and they were launching this product called the Phenom.